Why?
They're coming for us.
Listen, you've all paid for a seat on the plane. What's going on? Take a seat. I know what I'm doing.
Every second we're exposed out here.
What if Prey's biggest twist wasn't in the script, but hidden in a single frame? Today, we're exposing the secret even the director tried to bury. The story begins with Dr. Andrew, an American doctor who looks visibly distraught after one of his patients dies due to heart failure. As he reflects on the loss, a colleague approaches and warns him that a terrorist group has entered the area and is targeting Americans. They have discovered Dr. Andrew's presence, and his life is now endangered. Alarmed, Dr. Andrew rushes to his wife, a compassionate teacher who educates African children and is deeply committed to helping humanity. He tells her that they must leave immediately, fearing the terrorist threat. However, his wife hesitates, hoping there might still be a way to resolve things peacefully. She wonders if they can talk to the terrorists and change the course of events. Andrew, frustrated, tells her that his medical equipment has been stolen and the death of his patient is just one of many signs that the situation in Africa is deteriorating rapidly. He insists they leave for their safety. They head to a small, almost abandoned village airport situated in the desert. There they find a single plane, not in the best condition. The pilot, Grant, is greedy and attempts to overload the plane with both people and cargo. Another American named Max and his friends are also trying to escape. A kind-hearted African man named Head joins them as well. Before departure, Andrew's wife says a heartfelt goodbye to her African friend, expressing sorrow that she must leave due to the unrest caused by the terrorists. At the plane, Andrew confronts Grant, recognizing him as the pilot who failed to deliver his much-needed medical supplies. He blames Grant for the deaths of his patients and urges him to consider humanity over greed. Grant, however, demands more money and says the passengers can bring their belongings only if they hold them on their laps due to space limitations. Despite the cramped and poor conditions inside the aircraft, they have no choice but to take off, as waiting for the next flight could mean staying a week in a dangerous area, surrounded by both terrorists and wild animals. As the plane takes off, everyone breathes a sigh of relief. But soon, the plane begins to shake violently. Grant assures everyone there's no problem, but Dr. Andrew suspects the overloading is to blame. Suddenly, the situation worsens. The plane catches fire and crashes to the ground. Several passengers die on impact, while others, including Andrew, Grant, Max, and Head, survive but are injured. Andrew rushes to his wife, who is trapped under heavy luggage and suffering from a broken leg. Despite his efforts, he cannot free her. Grant coldly suggests giving her alcohol to ease the pain, but Andrew angrily dismisses him. The group buries one of their deceased companions near the wreckage to protect the body from wild animals. Realizing they're stranded in a dangerous region, they assess their situation. The extreme heat keeps animals away during the day, but nighttime will bring serious threats. Grant, Max, and Head decide to look for a village about 20 to 30 kilometers away. Max insists they should go southwest, but Grant, holding the only gun, decides to lead them southeast. He tells Andrew to come, but Andrew chooses to stay with his injured wife. That Andrew's wife, though injured, remains hopeful. She believes in fate and God, trusting they'll survive. Andrew refuses to leave her and asks the others to send help if they reach the village. Meanwhile, back in the desert, the trio struggles with heat and dehydration. Grant eventually gives them water, and they continue, hoping to find the village soon. But their journey leads only to more desert. Frustrated, Max takes Grant's gun and insists on leading the group. The others, however, choose to return to the crash site. When they return, they find the plane bloodied and Andrew and his wife missing. Lion tracks confirm their worst fear. They believe both have been eaten. But suddenly, Andrew appears, visibly shaken. He blames Grant for the crash and the resulting deaths. In his rage, he tries to attack Grant, but is shot at by one of the boys. We learn that Grant was smuggling valuable animal parts, and this may have contributed to the crash. Grieving, Andrew buries his wife and mourns her loss. Head comforts him, saying it wasn't his fault and that his wife believed in fate. As night falls, they realize they must take shelter. Only the pilot's cabin is safe, but it can hold just 3 people. They draw lots, and Max's friend loses, having to stay outside by the fire to keep the animals a night. Grant checks on him and finds him asleep and the fire out. He warns the boy, then returns to the cabin. But the boy soon falls asleep again. In the dark, glowing eyes appear. It's a lion. The 3 in the cabin hear everything but are too afraid to act. Andrew wants to help, but they're outnumbered and helpless. When Andrew opens the cabin door, a lion tries to break in. During the struggle, a snake hidden in the cabin bites Head. Andrew quickly extracts the venom, saving Head's life. At dawn, they discover that the boy was killed by lions. They decide to head to the village, but Andrew, emotionally broken, refuses to go. He stays behind near a tree, saying he's lost all hope and wants to die. The others press on and, not far from the crash site, spot an approaching vehicle. Excited, they shout for help, but to their horror, it turns out to be the terrorist group searching for Americans. The terrorists capture Andrew and accuse him of stealing from their land. Though he protests that he is only a doctor, they find the smuggled horns and accuse him of trafficking. Grant steps in, admitting the smuggling was his doing, hoping to save Andrew. The Head tries reasoning with the terrorists, but they shoot him, proving they have no compassion. That with 2 terrorists remaining, one proposes a twisted game. He tells Andrew to run while he counts to 10. But Andrew, broken in spirit, doesn't move. As the terrorist mocks him, Grant sneaks up and tries to disarm him. A struggle ensues. The gun turns out to be empty, but Andrew manages to grab the second terrorist weapon, and both are killed in the chaos. Grant tells Andrew they must leave, that he wants to redeem himself and help Andrew fulfill his wife's dream of healing others. They move toward the village, but are soon faced with a rocky mountain. As they climb, they spot lions below, attracted by the scent of blood. While hiding, a scorpion crawls onto Andrew's face, but he stays completely still. Just then, a rock slips, alerting the lions that realizing they are in grave danger. Grant covers himself in Andrew's blood and sacrifices himself to distract the lions. He tells Andrew to live, to make it to the village, and carry on the mission. As the lions pounce on Grant, Andrew runs out exhausted and dehydrated. Andrew collapses after a long walk. He sees animals approaching and thinks it's his end. But then thunder cracks and the animals flee. Rain begins to fall. Andrew drinks the rainwater and eventually passes out. When he awakens, the colleague who first warned him about the terrorists appears and rescues him. Andrew is now safe and on his way to the village. His survival was written in his fate, and the story ends with hope for a new beginning. That's so genius twist or total nonsense. Fight it out below. Down arrow, and if you spotted a detail we missed, drop it in the comments. Prove us wrong. Thanks for watching.